Hey, what's up? It's me again. Well, what do you know? I'm getting a rare opportunity to make a video. And while I don't think that light is necessary, I think that it might shine a little more light on me. So we'll see how it goes. Um, well, today is January 25th, I'm pretty sure. And guess what? We are 1 month since Christmas. And as a result, I'm finally wearing something other than my red sunglasses. So, for my show and tell today, I got this beautiful cup, this Mardi Gras tumbler, which I might be the only Texan who has a cup like this, which you need the light to see how glittery it is, but it is beautiful. And I would have bought some Mardi Gras beads, but I've got Mardi Gras beads everywhere you can imagine. So I don't think I need any more of those. Um, well, what I'd like to talk about today, well, and here's my fleur-de-lis necklace. It's a number of things. And I tried to give this to my mom. I got this in Texas, but I think I might end up stuck with it. It's basically a tumbler that has a leopard on it, and you can imagine why I like the tropical theme with the leopard. But I digress. So I'd like to talk about a number of things today. Um, I don't really know where to begin. But first of all, I'm just very frustrated with the weather that we've been having, you know, in Louisiana and Texas and basically everywhere along the Gulf Coast. It's just been raining, or not really rainy, but just overcast. Basically all along the Gulf Coast this past few days. And of course, you can't see the moon. And I cannot wait to go back to Texas and make a more extensive video. But I'm just so intrigued by the moon and by outer space in general. And I just wish someone would have explained to me when I was younger that the moon phases are very much like the angles on the clock. Okay? When you have a full moon, you see this cat toy is a perfect little demonstration, but I'll probably find something better in Texas. When you have a full moon, it's like at night, the earth, moon, and sun form like a 180-degree angle, like the hands at 6 o'clock. So, like if the sun is at the end of the minute hand, the earth is in the middle, and then the moon is the hour hand. Well, this is your full moon. They're 180 degrees apart. Then, if you have a new moon, they would be 0 degrees apart. And of course, the first and last quarter are the 90-degree angles, like 3 and 9 o'clock. And of course, gibbous is when it's obtuse, crescent is when the angle is acute. So I'll explain that in more detail in Texas, which I can't wait to get back to very soon. By February, I should be back in Texas making videos that I'd much prefer to be making. So, anyway, I just wish someone would have explained that a little better to me when I was younger and studying about space. And how it's the same way with other planets. When they rise around sunset and set around sunrise, that's when it is best to view them, when they're in opposition to the night side of the earth. So I'm very frustrated, with not being able to see the moon, but eventually the weather will clear up and we'll be able to see it once again. So, the other thing I'd like to talk about, well, a number of things. We're a month since Christmas, and I just like to say that, well, I don't know how to put this into words. I'd probably rather make a better video about it. But one hot topic recently has been the subject of women's sports and how basically they're going to try to force schools to allow biological males to compete with girls and vice versa. They're trying to change biological sex to mean gender identity, and you know how infuriating that is to me. So before too much time passes and it's no longer being talked about, I'd like to talk about, how I feel about that and why, I really haven't made a lot of videos, about that aspect of the trans thing. I mean, I'm sure that I don't approve of the whole trans thing in general from my other videos. But what I rarely ever talk about is, male to females, pretending to be women, and how angry that makes me. Because I feel, and the reason I don't make a lot of videos about that as opposed to the F to M thing, and people just allowing girls to decide, well, because I don't fit in with, everything people believe about women, well, I'm really a guy. So, I totally disagree with that. Because there would be a lot of so called guys, you know, if we define women as the non pooping, non human creatures that men want to believe that we are. So, what really makes me angry is how the left, the reason I'm not more upset about it than I am is because I feel like there is a very simple solution to that problem. Okay? And what really makes me mad is how leftists kind of, they think they can just keep pushing their agenda and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and that there's absolutely nothing that the right can do about it. We just have no choice but to just keep playing along, keep putting our girls in sports only to be defeated by genetic males, pretending to be girls. But you see, what they don't seem to realize is that the right has a lot that can be done about it. There's a lot that the right can do to push back against it. You see, they're forgetting who has the babies. It isn't leftists, by and large, that are having the big families and the daughters. So, I feel like, there's a lot that people on the right can do, that the left doesn't realize as a backlash against these things. And there's just a very simple solution, a very, very, very simple solution, to this problem about, males gaming the system by saying they're women, and beating women's records. Well, we could pretty much, if we wanted to be honest, we could pretty much do away with any and all competitive sports for women and girls. Girls could stop signing up for these things, and girls' parents could stop putting them in it, and, anyone who is conservative could stop funding, this nonsense. And what would end up happening is obviously we couldn't have any more women's sports. I mean, because really, how much do most people even know about women's sports? So, the right can do a lot. And if the truth be known, I never wanted to be in sports. I was never in competitive sports. My mom never wanted my sister in competitive sports. But, it's only when she basically got away from my mom and, started this nonsense where she hasn't spoken to my mom in 5 years that she did anything to my knowledge with sports. So, there's a lot that the right can do, when they try to push these things on us. And, we could, like I say, if everyone who is the least bit conservative would stop funding women's sports and stop putting their daughters in sports and, stop participating in competitive sports, it would get to the point where there would be no women's sports. So why would these males want to pretend to be women if there are no competitive sports? And my question is, if you're so damn competitive, which is a very masculine trait, okay, if you're so competitive that you want to play sports and lift weights and run track, why the hell didn't you just stay a guy? You know what I'm saying? I thought the definition of a transgender person was someone who was basically the other sex in their mind, okay? And you have to prove to a doctor that your mind is that of the opposite sex before you can even get these hormones and surgeries. So I don't understand why someone, who is so athletic, that they would lift weights and do all these masculine things. Why would they even, want to get on estrogen in the first place? Why would someone who is the least bit feminine want to get on testosterone? Because like I've said before, I'd rather be 99% lesbian than 1% homosexual as a male. And that's because I was born a female. So, anyway, that's how I feel about it. And I just think that, if they would just start giving participation trophies for the girls, every girl that, they could just have a plain aerobics class or, personal fitness class, which is what I took in high school. Just a personal fitness minimum requirement class, just so I could get a PE grade. And of course it was an A. So, if every girl would just do participation things. And by the way, it was boys and girls together because there was no competition. See, that's the thing. If it isn't competitive, then it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, girls could stop having competitive sports, and the right could really push back against some of these things that the left thinks they can just impose indefinitely. Because I feel like what's going to end up happening is they're going to force us to reject things that we used to embrace rather than embrace things that we used to reject. And that's why I fear the Rugrats reboot. I'm just so afraid that, as much as I have a problem with it as is, they're going to start doing things that are even more outrageous than they've ever done before. And then I'll have to reject it completely. So, I just think that the right could push back a lot more than they do. And that this is just a perfect example.